Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers McKay.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, drink coffee with us-worthy podcast. Today is Thursday, the 22nd of October, 2020. Kristy, how goes it this morning?
It's good. I'm on my third cup of coffee. So... Speaking of drinking coffee, in one of our articles today about the benefits of high levels of caffeinated beverages. So.
I know this morning's headline about, drink coffee, it's good for you, sort of seems a bit self-indulgent. I can't argue with it. I'm totally on board. Actually, yesterday at about 4 o'clock, I got so tired all of a sudden, and I was driving the baby. We had gone to swimming lessons, aka mom teaches her how to swim. But we were driving home from the pool, and I had this moment where I almost went and got a cup of coffee. And as I was driving past the Starbucks, I looked at it and I thought, I need to power through. And so I did. But boy, oh boy, my 5 a.m. coffee today tasted great.
We've done a few stories recently about getting off of caffeine or maybe not having coffee in the morning, using matcha or other wonderful alternatives. I also drink green tea. So I have my afternoon green tea and my morning coffee.
So you do green tea in the afternoon. Now, what is your coffee routine? Are you a French press? Are you a grind and brew? What's your coffee sitch?
I just have a regular old drip coffee because I like to be able to set it in the morning. The night before.
Yes. We have a grind and brew. Something about that sound that sort of always goes off right before my biological internal alarm clock. It's like the cue and the smell wakes me up. So we sound like we're doing a coffee commercial here on the Optimist Daily. And for just $5 a month, less than a fancy cup of coffee, you too can support reader-funded journalism.
We're the daily dose of optimism, right?
So we'll just go ahead and throw out all of our marketing taglines all at once, but not really. So what have you spent your morning doing since you are already on your third cup of coffee? I think our listeners want to know what's coming in their future.
Well, I'm working on this week's View article, which I've done way more research than I need to. I could write a small book right now on e-waste and new advances in recycling for lithium-ion batteries. So that's what I'm writing about. And how do we bring circularity into the whole idea of electric vehicles?
Yes. Well, as you guys know, Kristy is super passionate about her electric car. She likes to tell us about it all the time. But the good thing is that there is some inquisitiveness and challenge that those who are passionate about electric vehicles do bring to the market, right? It is not a catch-all, this will fix everything solution if other processes aren't implemented, including circularity and management of the batteries.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't want to just substitute one dirty industry, the extractive fossil fuel industry, for another dirty extractive industry, extracting lithium and all those other kind of minerals. So how do we build a different kind of transportation system with different kinds of values?
Well, and I'm very excited to read it because I come from kind of a car family. My husband's a supercar guy, and he is constantly challenging the notion that e-machines are greener because he is the guy who's fixing, we have a 1927 Model A, and he's saying this machine has been around forever and I can fix it and make it still run, and nothing in this has to get thrown away. And so I'm very excited that you're taking this on, Kristy. I do know that you are working harder on it than you probably should, but that means it's going to be an extraordinary View article, and all of our emissaries will get it on Sunday morning.
The pressure, Summers. Let's not build it up too much.
Oh, rise to the challenge. You always do. Well, I, on the other hand, also had a productive morning, but it was gardening. The moment my husband takes the baby I launched into trimming back bougainvillea and spraying down all of my plants with this horticultural oil because we kind of have a little bit of a mildewy rust situation happening. My thumb is triple wrapped in Band-Aids because I basically put a bougainvillea thorn through my thumb this morning. But it was all in preparation because Kristy and I are doing something crazy today. We're meeting in person. We're going to hang out in my yard and have a socially distant business meeting face-to-face this afternoon and possibly a walk on the beach with the baby. So I am super excited for my day and feeling super optimistic because I get to see my favorite business partner.
I'm looking forward to it, Summers. All right, but what are we going to talk about today? What do you want to highlight from today's articles other than our caffeine story?
Exactly. Other than caffeine, which great article, go read it. But what I want to highlight today is an alternative method of cooling. As many of you know, I live near the ocean and I love living near the ocean. It's such a part of my life. And we have a great headline that looks for alternative cooling opportunities. The headline today reads, "Research says seawater air conditioning could cool coastal cities." Now, there is a study from the International Institute of Applied System Analysis, IIASA, that showed seawater air conditioning could be a greener alternative to conventional cooling systems. The way that this works is simply exchanging super deep cool water from the ocean, 700 to 1,200 meters deep, into a heating system to produce cool air in the buildings. Basically, 1 cubic meter of seawater produces the same energy as 21 wind turbines. So, for coastal cities with large-scale edifices, then think, airports on the coast or large hotels or convention centers, this could be a cost reduction of over 75%. One benefit is that this technology allows the cooling systems to be expanded with pretty minimal updates to infrastructure. Now, of course, as I began reading this, as any ocean lover would see, you have some inherent challenges. How is this built without disrupting the ecological system of the ocean and of that coastal area, right? So if we're digging into the ocean or diving into the ocean to collect water, how do we do so in the least disruptive way? I'm really excited about this idea. If you think about all of the coastal resorts, if all the coastal resorts were able to implement a greener strategy to cooling their footprint, we could continue to advance eco-travel just because the big resorts could do it too. I am imagining the day where we all return to tropical vacations in our beautiful hotels cooled by seawater.
They're using similar kinds of principles to cool coral reefs because of the ocean heating. Mm-hmm. Just bringing a little bit of cooler water from the bottom is really important. But yeah, you do have to be sensitive because you don't want to put the warm water and disrupt the ecosystems. Those are delicate balances. Kind of reminds me of like earth tunnels. It's like a passive cooling system for off-grid homes, earth tubes, where you dig down to 1.5 meters down, and there's this constant temperature underground that you can bring that cool air in when it's hot, and it's also warm compared to the outside if it's winter. Kind of reminds me of that, using
I like it.
Natural cooling systems.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, solutions aren't siloed. Wind turbines may make a tremendous amount of sense in an area where there is no coastal water to dig into, right? So finding solutions that are regionally appropriate is one of the most important strategies we can deploy in mitigating the effect we have on climate change.
And I'm going into another region.
I was going to say
now,
shall we shoot from deep into the ocean to up in the stars?
Yeah, so the headline I wanted to highlight reads, "NASA collects samples from a space asteroid for the first time." Clearly, this is up from our space section on the Optimist Daily, one of my favorites. But it's a pretty remarkable accomplishment that NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft, which has spent nearly 2 years in space, was able to gather samples from an asteroid. The Bennu is the asteroid. I'm not sure if that's how you actually pronounce it, but it's a near-Earth asteroid. And this spacecraft has actually been able to take some samples from that space rock. And it's quite momentous. The spacecraft has a robotic arm that was able to grab some pieces off of the surface, and it's going to be coming back to Earth for study. It should arrive back on our planet in September of 2023, and it's information about life in the solar system from 4.5 billion years ago. There's also potentially precious materials on the asteroid surface. And I think that's really what's behind this kind of exploration, the commercial potential of mining in deep space, which kind of fits into some of the things I've been researching in terms of the critical minerals that are required for the electric revolution, which we're all in the midst of, like the lithium in our batteries and the graphite and all the different pieces that make up the battery that we use and reuse that powers more and more of how we function in terms of the power. So being able to harvest and mine space is probably part of what's behind this.
Right.
I don't want to get too dark there, but that's probably part of it.
It's not dark, Kristy, to recognize that there have to be capital intentions to exploration, right? We can't be, I guess, so certain that business is bad, right? We know that business and exploration and expansion can be a great innovator. And as long as it is done with strong ethical practices and with conscious intention, there's nothing wrong with a capital intention to expand. Now, harvesting rocks from asteroids may or may not be a more efficient way of getting precious minerals, right? But there's nothing wrong with the moonshot mindset. And I love this story. And as you and I both dive deep in or go high up, the Optimist Daily is a big fan of using solutions and recognizing that business can and should do good. This is a great story. And so I think everyone will enjoy reading it. I think there's a lot of other great stories on the Optimist Daily today. I'll go through some of the headlines. Compton is launching America's biggest guaranteed income program. So in 2019, Stockton launched a program. Compton is following. It's great. You'll understand how it's working. It's interesting that it's called the Compton Pledge. I thought that Compton had renamed itself to South Los Angeles, but it seems like, according to the story, that it's still Compton. Another story which I'm quizzically amused by, but it reads, Impossible Foods is making plant-based milk that tastes like cow milk. I personally find cow milk totally repulsive, so this does not appeal to me, but I do know there are people in my home who like cow's milk, so maybe it would appeal to them. What else do we have?
Well, there's yet another rope bridge or another bridge which is restoring forest passage for another critically endangered species. This time it's the gibbon in China. Gotta love those gibbons.
I think gibbons are nice, right? They're not like lorises. They're not
quite as they don't have the venomous bite. They're not quite as cute as lemurs, but yeah. 6 dirty power plants in New York are transitioning to cleaner technologies, and this is a really interesting article that also touches on environmental justice and social justice. So go take a read of that. We do have the article that we referenced, the study that drinking the right amount of caffeine may lower diabetes risk. I guess that I'm covered there since I'm in good 5 cups a day. Allbirds is launching clothing line that's made from discarded marine shells. I
love that one because we do the marine shells and then also the crustacean waste. I love the idea of using that waste. And as you know, I am on this battle against waste in my home right now. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a tax plan that wants to help cities address climate change locally, and that's located from Berkeley, California.
Go Bears.
Go Bears, yes.
I feel like we have like a Berkeley beat this week on the Optimist Daily, and it's making me feel nostalgic. I want to throw on my Cal gear.
Another cooling technology, another new one that's being developed. Headline, smart windows change colors when it's hot outside in order to cool your home. And go take a read on that. And that is it for today's Optimist Daily. Thank you so much for listening to the Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories every single day with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world to ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and keep offering you the information you need most to chart new paths for all of us.
Please, everyone, consider becoming an emissary on the OptimistDaily.com, and for just $5 a month, as we say again and again and again.
The cost of a big coffee.
Exactly, the cost of your diabetes-lowering coffee. Support reader-funded independent journalism. Be part of the solution changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you on Friday.